Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed 100 people, then just feed one. You cannot help everyone, but everyone can help somebody. Hello, friends. This is Stella Sanoborkello, welcoming you again to the Family Enrichment Hub, your center for family learning and for growth. I have the honor today to be speaking about teaching generosity at our households, within our families. Generosity speaks to the attribute of sharing your resources, sharing your money, sharing your time, sharing your talent, sharing your skills with others who need it without expecting a return. Generosity helps us to break the spirit of selfishness that is innately present in all of us as human beings. Somebody put it so rightly when they said, generosity flows from the heart and not from the wallet. Why? Because each of us has been variedly gifted. And so we are in a position to be able to help another person at different points in their lives and in our lives as well. And so I believe generosity is a virtue that we need to teach to our children right from when they are still under our care. Just as you see, we teach our children how to do household chores like cooking, like washing, like cleaning their personal belongings. You do not give them a manual and say, there you go. That is how they do it. Go and follow the manual and you learn how to do the activities. You follow through, you offer presence, you show guidance, you teach them at different points until you reach a level where you see that the child is actually comfortable and they can be able to execute all these activities independently. In the same way, generosity as a virtue can be taught, it can be learned at the household level. How do we teach generosity within our households? For those of us who have elderly parents, that's a beautiful opportunity for us as we care for our elderly parents. Our children are watching and they are learning, they are understanding that this is the way of life. When we give of ourselves to our parents, our children are picking an important lesson of life that tomorrow, when they are also older, this is what will be expected of them. Why? Because they have learned this virtue right from home. When we are paying tuition for our relatives and people within our different networks, we are communicating to our children that when the Lord blesses us with resources, we are not supposed to just eat and consume everything 100%. We are mandated to stretch out our hands and support those whom we can be able to support. And so when our children see and watch us pay tuition for our relations, they are picking lessons of life. They know that this is the way to bless other people through our act of generosity in paying their tuition. And also another beautiful opportunity that we have at household level is when we are giving out gifts to people. This is a beautiful opportunity for us to show our children that generosity is indeed a beautiful virtue that we need to inculcate in our lives and in their lives. I watch the way people package gifts which they give out to those in need. You see somebody packaging tattered clothes. You see people packaging dilapidated items. You see people packaging stuff which is totally rejects. They are now unwanted stuff within their house. That is what you package and you send to others. And you also count yourself as a generous person. You're actually distorting the message of generosity. Children are picking a totally different message. You're communicating to them that when you're giving to others, give them the worst, give them the leftovers, give them the balances, give them unwanted items, which is not correct because generosity speaks to giving the best of what you have to another person who is in need. And so when you're giving out, when you're donating items at household level, give out items that you know you still have need of, that you know that even if you changed your mind, you're still going to continue using those items beneficially at your household level. Encourage children to do donations. For instance, for those who are in school, find out every holiday, whom did you support this term? Is there anybody you helped with their academics this particular term? Is there anybody you supported financially? Is there anybody you went out of your way to offer a shoulder to lean on? Let children understand that it is a good discipline for them to care, to be concerned for the needs of others within their community. In that way, they will learn to grow up when they are selfless, when they are interested in meeting the need of somebody else. And also look at those of us who are living with extended relations in our houses. When you live with people in your house who are not your children and your spouse, you're communicating a message to your children that there is always space, there is always extra room to accommodate another person that needs to be supported. In this way, your children are able to appreciate that this is an act of generosity, that when they also grow up in the future, it shouldn't be strange. Because, like the Bible tells us, train up a child in the way that they ought to go. And when they are older, they will not depart from it. So, as you do these acts of generosity at household level and you talk to your children, when they are much older, they will remember that indeed this is the way of life. Look at how we do the giftings between ourselves as a couple. Do you give yourselves gifts? And when you do this, let your children understand that indeed generosity and charity begins from home. Because as children see you as parents gifting one another, it is something that will be inculcated in them. When their own time comes to manage their own families, it won't be a strange behavior. It will not be a strange thing for them to go out of their way and gift their spouse, because they will have learned this virtue, this attribute from home. Also, look at the special giftings. For instance, as a household here, every Christmas, we do packages for our local village community. We travel to the village and with a lot of joy and excitement, we give out these packages to the local community. It's a beautiful way for us to communicate to our children that when the Lord has blessed us, it's good for us as a family to also go out of our way and be a blessing to another person. In that way, the children are learning that indeed generosity needs to be a way of life. It needs to be inculcated in them while they are still young. And then also for those of us who do giving within the church, how do we do our offerings? Do you give children the remaining balances of 100 shillings, the 200 shilling coins, the 500 shilling coin, the tattered dilapidated notes? Those are the ones that you give to the children and tell them to take as offertory. When you do that, you're communicating to the children that you don't value generosity, that indeed God is not such a valuable person in your life. Give your children clean notes. Give your children money that they will also appreciate and know, yes, we have truly shown acts of generosity within the house of the Lord. And then our domestic servants. How do we live with our domestic servants? I have witnessed this again in so many families where people treat domestic servants as second, third, fourth, and fifth class citizens, and their own children and spouses are the first class. A domestic servant goes out of their way to cook food, sumptuous food for the family, but they are not permitted to taste of that food. While they are serving the family this sumptuous meal that they've prepared, the servant is told to go and prepare their own. For instance, they will tell them, do the greens and probably do cassava. That is the meal that the servant is supposed to partake of. This is not acceptable. You're actually communicating to your children that when you're living with people, your children have first rights, and then other people are entitled to the balances that remain afterwards. So you need to communicate to your children a correct message. When the domestic servants have cooked food, or when there is food available to be eaten at the household level, let everybody eat the same. Because we are all human beings in the eyes of the Lord. And what is good for you is good for another person as well. What is not good for you should not be good for another person. Let children also appreciate in the way you treat those domestic servants that indeed generosity is a virtue that begins from home. When you're buying clothes for your children, go out of your way and buy for a domestic servant as well. Gift them also something that communicates that you truly value them and you desire to show them that you are a generous person. Allow me share some reflections. Giving does not take away your children's blessings, like some people believe. And generosity will not make you poor as a household. If generosity were to make people poor, in this household of ours, we would be very poor because we really give a lot of support on a daily and a monthly basis at household level here. Generosity will not make you poor. Generosity is actually an opportunity to impact lives positively. Again, at household level, we are very proud of our contribution in the lives of the people that we have supported at different points in their lives. Many of all the people actually that we've supported have gone out to become very responsible people within the community, and they're also supporting others. So in this way, it gives us a lot of thrill and joy to know that we have had a significant contribution in the lives of people that are also impacting other people's lives. Generosity is an opportunity for you to show more than talking. You don't talk to children to teach them generosity when you're not doing. Like I've already shared, when you're teaching them how to cook, when you're teaching them how to clean, you do it practically, not just by talking at them. Generous people are happy people because they make the world a better place to live in. Give yourself a challenge of every 7 days. Just do a reflection and say, how many people have I supported? Who have I gone out of my way to be generous to and to support? Have wide open arms. When your hands are wide open, it means you are generously giving and supporting to others. And in that way, you create more room for you to receive more blessings and you continue being a blessing in the lives of so many people. Generosity helps us to break the spirit of selfishness. And indeed, like they say, it is more blessed to give than to receive. Let's teach our children to be children of virtue, to be children who desire to be generous and supportive to the lives of others. Allow me conclude with a Bible reading from the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, from verse 24 to 25. And it says, one man gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. A generous man will prosper. He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. Friends, this is the way of life. Generosity multiplies blessings in our lives and in the lives of those that we bless. Thank you, friends, for listening in. Kindly share widely, for I believe this is how we shall truly transform our society through the family. God bless you. Bye.